that? You hear that? You know what that is? Let me know if you know what that is. I don't want to play too much. Might get copyrighted. It's that time. The time is here. Everybody knows there's not a better time of year. At least that's what I keep trying to tell myself. You know what I mean? I got my candy canes. That's all I need. That's all I need. I remember growing up, there was this one year we didn't have a tree. We didn't have nothing. We didn't have nothing. All right? And we went out, and when we came back, there was this white tree, this white Christmas tree with red lights on it. Under the tree, it was packed full of Christmas gifts. It was a miracle. It was a Christmas miracle. We were just kids. I was like probably 6 or 7. Later, I found out that it was actually, my parents didn't have money that year. We didn't even have a tree, like I said. And some of their friends actually went out of their way to get us a tree and a bunch of gifts. I mean, there was a bunch of gifts. And what a nice thing to do, because I'm telling you, that made our year. That made our year. That made my life, bro. No, that did make our year. It was magical. I mean, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that moment, seeing that tree. And a lot of people don't like the white trees, but I'm telling you, this tree was magnificent. It was wonderful. I'm almost crying thinking about it. If only I could do that for somebody. I wish I had the money, the chance, the opportunity to do something like that for somebody. It meant the world to us. It really did. And some people don't celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Kwanzaa or Hanukkah. That might be the same thing. I don't know. Whatever you celebrate. This time of year, people are a little bit happier. People are they got a little bit of magic in their heart. You know, some people are dicks. Some people are dicks, you know. And some people are all nice to their family, and then they're dicks in public. I was trying to get some stuff from the store, and this lady's just standing in the aisle, blocking the whole aisle. And I said, "Excuse me." She didn't even look at me. She didn't even budge. I don't get it. I don't get that. But hey, I ain't gonna let it ruin my Christmas. I've been going out of my way. I've been really trying to make this Christmas special, this year special. I mean, it's not about gifts, you know, but I've been going out of my way with that. And, you know, it's not about that. It's about the feeling. And I was telling myself that the whole time. And really, when you're trying to overextend yourself for your kids or loved ones or whatever, sometimes it can get a little overwhelming. Sometimes you can get a little frustrated and lose sight of what really matters. You know, if you have young kids, what matters is that they have that magic. They have that magic in their heart. That's what Christmas is about. It's about that feeling you get. It's about caring about your loved ones, caring about other people besides yourself. You know, it's a time for putting others above oneself, you know? And so I've been trying to do that. As far as my family goes, you know? Not my extended family, but just my kids and my fiance. And I haven't really thought about myself too much. You know, when I was getting frustrated because the kids weren't behaving and I had gone out of my way to do all this stuff, I was getting a little frustrated. So I was thinking about myself then. And I had to relax because that's not what it's about. It's not about that. It's about that feeling, that magic, you know? But sometimes you have kids, you know, that, you know, might try to sneak into a present. You know what I mean? You know, you might not be able to trust leaving gifts under the tree. If you're like us, we normally put our gifts out under the tree the night before Christmas. And then whatever Santa brings, you know, that pops up. That appears, you know, he's that late night bandit that, you know, be going through that chimney, even if you don't have one. You know, he'll unlock the front door and just walk right in. And you better have some cookies. But if you, you know, if you're like us, and you have those kids that might try to sneak in, you might want to try to wrap a brick up, you know, put a brick under the tree. So when they open that, they're like, shit, I got a fucking brick. But I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, nobody's perfect. I ain't perfect. I was in the store a couple days ago, and you know it's Christmas time, so there's a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and it was overwhelming. You know, and some people suffer with anxiety and stress, especially around this time of year or in public around a lot of people. But you got to remember that everybody's human. It's human. Nobody's perfect. It's human to err. It's human. Everybody makes mistakes, you know? And what I find helps me is focusing on other people, whether it's Christmas or not. You know, when I try to ask somebody how their day is going, instead of focusing on myself, like when I start stressing or panicking and I'm falling into that feeling of heaviness, I like to think of others. I like to ask the cashier how they're doing. You know, maybe if they got a tattoo, what's that tattoo about? You know, talk to them, talk to people. I mean, we've lost our ways. We've lost our ways. And, you know, there's social media, but social media is so, you know, it's so, what's the word for it? Not saturated. It is saturated. I see the same thing, picture on Facebook like 10 times a day, you know, and people will say like, oh, this ain't your post, you stole it. You stole it from some other group. This is the 10th time I seen it today. You know what I mean? So it is saturated, but it's so curated. It's so curated where they got us seeing what they want us to see. Eventually, who knows? Who knows? You know, something like this you might not be able to see. They're trying to censor it. They're trying to censor it. But you know what they can't censor? You know what they can't censor? They can't censor this right here. You know what that is? That's the sound of freedom. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. That's my favorite Christmas song, right there. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one. But this is a close second, and this is from that Griswold's Christmas Vacation. Hear that sleigh? Or whatever he said? Look, you gotta have one. Like Theo said in his first podcast, everybody has one. Everybody has a favorite Christmas song. I don't care who you are. And if you don't have one, pick one. If you don't celebrate, pick one. And if you're like me, you might throw that bitch on in July and just jam out to it. Feliz Navidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Oh, I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Anyways, I can't quit my day job, you know what I mean? I mean, that goes for these videos too. Yeah, man, going back to the stressing, because I got some notes here I wrote down, I ain't gonna lie. You know, sometimes you just gotta stop being a little biatch, you know what I mean? I'd rather live on my feet than die on my knees, type of thing, you know? And sometimes I'll be panicking and I'm just like, get over it, keep going, I'm fine. And then I will be fine, you know? And sometimes it seems like the people in charge, quote unquote, them, they, whoever, whatever their pronouns are, sometimes it seems like they don't want us to be okay. But man, I don't envy their position, because it must be hard being in charge of the whole world, if they are in charge of it, whoever they are, in charge of the whole world. Imagine that. Shit. It's hard enough to be in charge of a household, let alone a whole world. I often ask, why does messed up stuff happen? You know, and sometimes I feel like it's just a distraction, so we don't wake up and say, why are we living like this? Why do we gotta live like this? You know, but I won't get into that. I really won't. Look, I'm going back to Christmas, because that's what this episode is about, and I'm trying to have the Christmas spirit. I'm trying to have the Christmas spirit this year. I'm trying not to be a Scrooge. I'm trying not to be bah humbug. You know, it's hard sometimes, but you know, I don't know. I went and got. You know, I guess I could say this because my son probably won't see it, but I've been trying to fish. And you know, we got into fishing a little bit, but we got one fishing pole. My other fishing pole broke because I didn't use it for like 3 years, and the little thing that you flip up, snapped on me. And while I was trying to make a video, actually. But yeah, I went and got some fishing poles off Facebook Marketplace because they were brand new, you know. And I asked the lady if she could go down on them a little bit, you know. I tried to negotiate a little bit. She said, nope, you know. My son's selling them to try to buy some Christmas gifts for everybody. So I said, okay, that's awesome, you know. And I was going to buy one. She didn't have change, but I had in my head, well, there was 4, and she had a deal on them. And I was like, okay, you know, I'll just buy all 4. Because I wanted to help that little kid out. I don't know if the kid got the money or not, because I didn't see no kid. For all I know, she hustled me. But anyways, I got the fishing poles. They were her father's that had passed away, but they still had the paper on them. They're brand new, never been used. But you know, and it was a good deal. But they were smoky. They smelled like smoke. They were smokers. So there's that. My kid's gonna have some smoky fishing poles, but you know what? It'll work. I had that written down because that's a true story. I hope that kid got the money. I really do. You know, because part of me thought that kid ain't getting the fucking money. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's not up to me. What else I got to talk about? That's about it, I think. I want to say this. This year flew by. It flew by. Everybody I'm talking to, it flew by. Time, you know, as you get older, it seems like you do have less of it, but it seems like it goes by quicker, like they said. They always said that, you know, but it really does. And I heard a quote from, whatever. Life isn't short, you just got to do more. So, I've been trying to do stuff like fishing. I've been trying to appreciate my loved ones around me. I've been trying to appreciate just life in general. Life. You know, we only get one. And a lot of times we spend it stressing about nonsense, scrolling on social media, looking at stuff that doesn't even matter. And you know, Christmas is once a year, but it doesn't have to be once a year. Like they say in Scrooge, you know, Christmas could be 365 if you want it, if you want that feeling in your heart, you know. And if I have a New Year's resolution for myself, it's to spend to try to create more quality time with my family and just with myself. You know, I'm always rushing. It seems like it's one thing after another. And I'm not good at planning. I'm not good at, you know, writing stuff down, sticking to a routine. I never was good at sticking to a routine. So I don't really got no big New Year's resolutions, but I'm going to try to add some structure to my life, to these videos, to my kids' life. You know, while I have the chance. My kids aren't getting any younger. I got to appreciate the time while they're here, while they're young. I got to appreciate it while they're young. You know, because it breaks my heart. And if I could, I would give them the world. I would give them the world, but also I wouldn't want to spoil them. And I want them to have values and everything. But yeah, it's sad sometimes. You know, as a father, you wanna give your kids the world, especially you know. But if you have boys like me, you also want them to be independent and be able to take care of themselves, and you know, but also to be able to take care of others. And yeah, nobody's perfect. Everybody has advice, and everybody has their own ways of raising kids, and I'm probably not the best at it, but I'm not the worst either. I know that, and I try my best. But I could do better. I could do better with my own life as far as my structure. And my point is, if I add that structure to my life, that's only going to help my kids. And you know, I heard this the other day on Theo's podcast, Theo Vaughn, that you know, you got to take care of yourself. If you have kids, first priority is to take care of yourself and make sure you're okay so that your kids could be okay. Because, yeah, if you're not okay, you can't take care of your kids. So, you know, with that being said, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Wrong song. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, even if you don't celebrate. I don't even know what he said there. But anyways, if you don't celebrate, happy holidays. But I celebrate Christmas, and I ain't going to be scared to say it. You know? I ain't going to be scared to say Merry Christmas to people. And we pass out these cards at my work, and they say Happy Holidays. And I wrote Merry Christmas on every one. Because, well, every one that I gave out. There's a couple people I didn't even give them a card because I figured they probably don't celebrate or don't even care, you know. But even some of the ones that I thought, there's no point, they don't care. They're not celebrating. I've had some people tell me they're not celebrating because they're not buying into it or whatever. I still threw them a card just because sometimes people need help to get in the spirit. People need help. You know, and you know, if I could leave you guys with anything, help yourself, but also try to help others where you can. It's not up to you to save the world, but I believe that if one person is better and helps out another person, it could create a chain reaction that could change the world. So, you know, maybe that's just me daydreaming, but I think that's the only hope we got for changing the world. is one person at a time. I don't think there's any way that one person can influence the masses in a great way without being, compromised somewhere. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this. 20 minutes in. Most of it's just me rambling. But, hey, from now on, I'm going to, I've said this before, but from now on, I'm going to try to, add some structure to my life and to appreciate every moment that I get, because you never know. And so, if you get to celebrate Christmas this year, even if you're upset at your family or whatever, give them a call. It's not worth it. Holding grudges and everything, it's really not worth it. You get one life. Call your loved ones. Hug your neighbor if they allow it. And help somebody if you can. With that being said, thanks for watching. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. And just try your best to do your best. That's all you could do. Alright, I'm out. Take care until next year.